the moment of inertia of a ring. I didn't realize that the expression for this was pretty easy, but it's not super trivial to get, so I want to do it. And now, of course, there is the moment of inertia of a ring if you rotate it this way, about an axis coming in and out of the paper. That one's actually pretty easy. I'm going to do that one first. But I want to find the moment of inertia of a ring spinning about an axis like that. That make sense? Okay. So first, how do we define the moment of inertia? It's essentially the rotational mass. It's how much things resist changes in angular velocity. If we have a discrete system, the moment of inertia is defined as the sum of the mass of each piece times its distance from the axis squared. This is the scalar version if it's about a fixed axis. If you have a free rotating body, it's more complicated. Now, if I have a continuous distribution like a ring, then I'd have an infinite number of masses, and I'd call the mass dm, and it'd become an integral of r squared dm, where r is the distance to that particular piece. So let's go ahead and do the moment of inertia about, it's really easy, about an axis going this way. So in that case, I can pick a little piece, dm. Now the first thing I need to do is to find an expression for dm. If the linear density is constant, okay, uniform density, then I can say, we'll often use linear density as lambda. I'll define linear density as lambda. It's going to be the total mass, m, this is a capital M, divided by the total length. And the total length of this is just going to be 2 pi r. So that means that this little piece right here, what's the mass of the little piece going to be? Well, I'm going to write this out because it's going to be useful for later. The first thing I need to do is define where that piece is. So let's say that piece is at some angle theta. Now I need to know the length of that little piece right there. If I know the length of the little piece, then I can find the mass. So dm is going to be equal to the length of that little piece. In this case, if I know this is at some angle theta, and this is at some angle, let's just make it a little bit bigger, d theta, then the length of that piece right there is r d theta. So the total mass of that, the mass of that little piece is going to be r d theta times lambda, which is going to be m over 2 pi r. So that means the mass is going to be equal to the r's cancel. I get m over 2 pi d theta. And you'll notice it does have the correct units. Mass in kilograms, 2 pi is in radians, this is in radians, so I get kilograms. So that's my mass. Now I need to set up the integral. I'm going to integrate, add up all these pieces going all around the circle. So I'm going to integrate over theta. I'm going to integrate from theta is 0 to theta is 2 pi. And that's going to be equal to r. I'm going to use that as the distance to each piece. And dm, r squared, m d theta over 2 pi. So the m 2 pi is constant. And it turns out that as I move around here, what's my expression for the distance from this axis, which is coming out of here? It's just r. They're all the same. So I get, I have r squared, 2 pi, m. They're all constant. I can pull them out front. So I have r squared, m over 2 pi. The integral from 0 to 2 pi d theta. Now what's the integral of d theta? It's just theta. And evaluated at, so I'm going to say this is going to, let's write it out. R squared, m, that's r, over 2 pi, from theta from 0 to 2 pi, and that's going to be equal to 2 pi minus 0, so I get r squared, m, 2 pi, over 2 pi, cancel, I equals, we usually write the m first, m r squared. That's the moment of inertia of a hoop. If you spin it about this axis, right? Because it's pretty easy to integrate. You don't even have to do it. All the mass is the same distance away. So I can just take all that mass, multiply by its radius squared, and I am done. Okay. Now let's do this other case. So here's my axis of rotation, and then here's my ring. I still have the same lambda is m r d theta over, it's over 2 pi r. I did that in my head. So it's going to be m over 2 pi d theta. Okay, because I still want to break this into, I want to integrate as I move theta around. You could integrate, I can say, well, I'm going to integrate over x, but then I have to integrate over x and y. It's not so easy. So I'm going to integrate over theta. So there's my piece dm, and I still have the same thing. dm is going to be equal to the length of that piece, which is r d theta times this m. That's wrong. What? It's just m over 2 pi r. Yeah. I really lost it there. I was just excited about this problem. I got ahead of myself. So it's going to be r d theta times this, which is m over 2 pi r. So I get m d theta over 2 pi. That's my mass, and it changes. It doesn't change with theta. It depends on d theta. But now what about r? If you'll notice here, this is my r. And so r is not constant. If I take dm right here, dm right here, dm right here, dm right there is 0. They all have different r values. So I can find the r value because this is the length r, then this is the same length. This is going to be r cosine theta. So it doesn't matter, as I let theta go all the way around there, that's going to be my same expression for r. So now I can write I is going to be the integral from theta equals 0, that's 0, theta equals 2 pi, dm, which is this, I'll write it out as dm r squared. That's going to be the integral of dm, which is m d theta over 2 pi. And then r squared is going to be r squared cosine squared theta. And this is from 0 to 2 pi. Now I can pull out all my constants. So I have I is, I have m r squared over 2 pi. And then I have the integral of cosine squared theta d theta. And that's what I need to do. Okay, from 0 to 2 pi. You could say, well, I'm just going to look that up in an integral table. And I respect that, but I'm not going to. Okay, so let's do this integral. Let me rewrite that right here so that we have plenty of space to work. I'm going to say I equals m r squared over 2 pi, 0 to 2 pi, cosine squared theta d theta. Now, you may think, hey, I bet there's some trick here. Yes, there's a trick. And I don't like tricks, but sometimes you got to do a trick. And so I'm going to use the trick of the double angle formula. Let's write it over here. Double angle. One of the double angle formulas. This says that the cosine of 2 theta is equal to 2 cosine squared theta minus 1. So if I solve this for cosine squared theta and put it in here, I can integrate. So I'm going to add 1. So I get cosine squared theta, that's a terrible cosine squared, is going to be equal to, oh, I can add 1 and divide by 2. So I'm going to get add 1. So I have cosine 2 theta plus 1/2 over 2. Is that right? Yeah. Now if I substitute that in, I get I is m r squared over 2 pi, the integral of this. So I'm going to say, I'm going to actually factor out the 1/2. So I'm going to have a 4 right there. So I have cosine 2 theta plus 1 d theta. So I have two terms. I can integrate them individually. Now if I want to integrate, what's the integral of cosine theta? It's sine theta. But then I have this, if I have sine of 2 theta and I take the derivative, I'm going to get an extra 2. So I'm going to have to divide by 2. So let's do this integral, m r squared over 4 pi. So this is going to be equal to sine of 2 theta. If I take the derivative of that, I get cosine, and I get an extra 2, so I have to divide by 2. Yeah. And then I have this, just 1 d theta is just going to be theta. Now I need to evaluate that from 0 to 2 pi. So let's do that. It's going to be m r squared over 4 pi times, so the sine of 4, I'm going to have 4 pi, right? The sine of 4 pi is the same as the sine of 2 pi, which is the same as the sine of 0, which is 0. So that term's 0. And then this term I get 2 pi. And then minus sine of 0, which is 0, plus 0. So that's it. So now I get the pi's cancel, that cancels, and I get 1/2 mr squared. And that's my moment of inertia for a hoop rotated about an axis through the center, but in the plane of that. Now, I'm actually going to do this again. I'm going to do this numerically because I want to, and I think it's fun. So in this case, what I'm going to do numerically is to take a ring and break it into a finite number of pieces, and then say I is the sum over I, mi, ri squared, and see if I get the same thing or close. It'd be fun, just for fun. Okay, so let's jump over here to Python. I will give you the code for this. Don't worry about that. Okay, so here I'm using GlowScript v Python so I can animate it, or not animate it, model it. So the first thing I need to know the mass. Let's just pick a mass of 0.3. I'm just picking stuff because I don't really care. And a radius of 0.3. Let's change this to 0.2. I don't know. Okay, so that's my mass. And I need to pick in how many pieces I'm going to break it into. I'm going to start with just 10 pieces. And then with that, I know how many, my delta theta, right? I'm going to break my theta into pieces such that 10 times all the way around. So let's say theta equals 0. I'm going to start with theta and just move it around. And then d theta, no, not d jeta, d theta is going to be equal to 2 times pi divided by n. Is that big enough? I feel like it's not big enough. Okay. So now let's just go ahead and make a sphere. I mean a ring. So let's say while theta is less than or equal to 2 pi, then I want to make a temporary vector. Okay, I'm going to call it r temp. It's going to be equal to r times vector cosine theta, sine theta, 0. Right, if I have cosine theta, sine theta, that'll tell me exactly where on that thing is. Multiply it by the radius, and I'll put it in the right spot. Now let's put a sphere there, a sphere. I'm not even going to give it a name because I don't really care. Its position is going to be r temp. Its radius is, let's say, is r divided by 50. I'm just picking. And I don't even give it a color. So that's going to put a sphere there. Now I need to move my angle theta. So I can say theta equals theta plus d theta. And then that should be it. There you go. So there's my dots in a circle. And it is in 3D if you really like that stuff. But that is in 3D. So let's go ahead and save this. Moment of inertia ring axis. That's fine. Okay, now I want to calculate the moment of inertia. So for each one of those pieces, I need to calculate the moment of inertia. So let's say I equals 0. And then what I'm going to do is to calculate di in each step and add it to that. So I'll kind of accumulate a value. So down here, I'm going to say di is going to be equal to dm, which I don't have. So let's do that. dm is going to be equal to the total mass divided by the number. That's easy. Times the distance from the axis squared. So I'm doing this on the y-axis. So my distance from the y-axis is actually my x value. So I can say r temp dot x squared. And that should be each piece, right? Each piece has different distance x value from the origin, from that y-axis, so it'll be different. Now I'm going to add that di to my other pieces. I equals I plus di, and then that should be it. And now let's print that. Print I equals, no, that's a T. I equals I, and the units would be kilogram meter squared. Let's calculate the theoretical I. IT is going to be 0.5 times m times r squared. And just compare. So print I theory, I kilogram meters squared. And let's run it. So, amazingly, I got the same thing, which is kind of weird, but it did work out just fine. But that's only with 10 points. So let's change that to 1,000 points. Because if I can do 10, I can do 100. And if I can do 100, I can do 1,000. 1,000. And there you go. That's actually 1,000 points right there. But they're all just mashed together. And you see, I still get the same thing. So it works really well. That's one way to do it. Pretty exciting. It's just fun to do. I think it's fun to draw these and just calculate them manually. What is an integral but adding up an infinite number of pieces? And isn't 1,000 almost the same as an infinite? I mean, come on, it is. Okay. So I actually need this for another problem. That's why I did it. I'll put the code down below in case you want that.